Good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on the record about this very important project that impacts the communities I represent. I represent the communities of Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, Prospect Heights, parts of Crown Heights, and Bedford-Stuyvesant. As you know, the Empire State Development Corporation is what we would call in the law a public benefits corporation. And so by your very charter, you are charged with the responsibility of conducting yourself in a manner as it relates to the projects in our community in such a way that benefits the public. In fact, there are those of us in the state legislature who recently affirmed in this past legislative session the fact that public benefit corporations such as ESDC have a fiduciary responsibility not to any developer, not to the real estate industry, not to the mayor of the city of New York, and in fact not even to the governor of the state of New York, but a fiduciary responsibility to the public that you serve. And so as you evaluate this project, it's clear to me that that fiduciary duty must be exercised in a way that the public benefits. Now, whenever we have hearings like this, as you saw yesterday, oftentimes it's like the circus comes to town. And it's filled with theatrics, it's filled with showmanship, it's filled with manufactured drama. And then the circus leaves, and folks, some elected officials go back to the communities that they represent, back to Bensonhurst, and back to Bay Ridge, back to other parts of the city. But who's left? The people who live and work in this community, the people in Ingersoll and Whitman and Lafayette Gardens and Farragut, desperate for employment opportunities. The people who have been gentrified and displaced out of the only homes that they've ever known as a result of the affordable housing crisis. Who's left when the circus leaves town? In a recent letter that I signed on to, along with many of my colleagues, I articulated many of the concerns that we have as it relates to this project. So I referenced that July 28th letter rather than rehash it in my testimony. But let me just quickly touch on one point as it relates to the public benefits that you must make sure derive from anything that's built in Atlantic Yards, and that, of course, is affordable housing. Everyone seems to agree that if anything should be built there, it's affordable housing for the people who have been pushed out of these communities. And on that point, there are really three things that you must take in mind as I quickly sum up. First, you must make sure that the affordable housing is not held hostage to the arena. The affordable housing can be built right now. There's no reason that it's not being built right now. There are people who need that housing right now. There are people who need the jobs that would result from the affordable housing that is constructed right now. It should not be held hostage to an arena. Second, you must make sure that you enforce the promise that the developer made to build on-site affordable condominiums. If we're going to talk about affordability, we should talk about permanent affordability, and the only way to accomplish that is affordable home ownership. Lastly, you should make sure that if in fact thousands of units of affordable housing are promised to be built, that the community doesn't get shortchanged by 200 or 300 units over a 12-year period, which is all that I can tell seems to have been promised in the context of the 12 years or 13 years of phase one. Make sure that if in fact affordability of housing is the one area that everyone can agree upon, that ESDC upholds its charge as a public benefit corporation to make sure that if anything gets built, the affordable housing gets built for the communities that need it the most. Thank you.